You ready to let the dogs out?
What?
Do what?
From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Join Pet Pals TV's Patty Spitler as we celebrate our furry friends.
Cats, dogs, and all the critters in your family.
Celebrate the bond between pets and people and meet Hoosier heroes saving four-legged lives.
I love it. Good. I'm glad.
It's the Positively Patty Podcast.
I can't wait anymore. Me neither.
Now, your host, here's Wish TV contributor Patty Spitler.
And coming up today on the Positively Patty podcast, we are talking lightning bugs, fireflies. Are they the same thing? You might be interested in how do we relate to them in Indiana, and what is our particular connection to them? It's firefly season, and we have an expert coming up. His name is Sergio Henriques, and from the Indianapolis Zoo, we'll find out more. So don't move. Coming up on the Positively Patty podcast.
Your day moves fast. Your news should too. That's why there's a new and improved Wish TV app, bringing you more local news, breaking alerts, live streaming, weather forecast, radar, and Indiana sports, all in one place. Customize your news feed to see the stories that matter most to you and get the information you need when you need it. Download the new and improved Wish TV app today on iOS or Android and take News 8 with you everywhere.
And now on the Positively Patty podcast, it is my pleasure and my honor to introduce you to Sergio Henriques. He is the Invertebrate Conservation Coordinator. And Sergio, say your name for me the way you would say it.
I will. So I'll say it in Portuguese. Thank you so much for having me. My name in Portuguese is Sergio Henriques.
Isn't that great? That sounds great. Now, not only does it sound great, you do great things. I didn't know. I got the notes from the Indianapolis Zoo, and they were telling me all about, you work with conservation there.
That's right.
And they were telling me all about fireflies.
Yeah.
First off, why did you get interested in fireflies?
So fireflies, as you know now, are the state insect of Indiana.
I didn't know that until I saw the notes. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the state insect is the Say Firefly specifically, and it was described by Thomas Say, which is eminent Hoosier, very famous naturalist who lived here in southern Indiana. And he described this species, and in 2018, a number of school children worked very hard to promote the species and take it, to all the steps, and now it's officially the state insect.
The state insect
That's
firefly,
right.
Or lightning bugs. That's what
very
we call them.
controversial.
I remember growing up as a kid, my parents had some cottages at Indian Lake, Ohio, which isn't far from Indiana, but I'd go out and catch them and put them in a container and then let them go. I always catch and release for everything.
That's lovely.
But I did not realize that not all fireflies light up.
That's true. So there's a number of diurnal fireflies who don't flash. So the group as a whole, so there's over 2,000 species of fireflies, by the way.
Did you hear that? 2,000 species of fireflies?
Yeah, there's like over 40 just here in Indiana. We're very privileged to have these number of beautiful animals surrounding and enriching our lives, right? With their beauty, and as you did as a child, and you get to see them, and it's part of my job, because I have a young daughter as well, to try to ensure that she and the other friends she has and people in the future get to see them and enjoy them as well. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I do what I do.
That's why I do what I do. I love that. Also, we need to talk about. I wish you could see his shirt he's got on. He's got fireflies on his shirt. Every time I look at him, I see the fireflies. So there's different species. And the males flash, so to speak, to attract females.
It's true. It's their love song, yes.
Wow.
So they have a very gentle whisper. So their flash is very humble but very beautiful. And they do that as part of this singing and dancing that they do with the females to tell each other what species they are and that they're ready to mate and to find a partner. And different species of the 2,000 I said will have different flashes. And some of them, as you mentioned, will have none. They'll live during the day and they won't flash. They'll find each other through the perfume of love, so their pheromones. And that's how the male will find the female.
And they live about a couple of weeks, but the larva can live for a couple of years.
Very long. Yeah, so when they're very young, when they're hatched, they're younglings, they'll come out and they usually live in the soil. They'll feed on snails. That's their diet. They're predators, which is part of their role in ecosystem. And they're very voracious predators. They're really important in the ecosystems. They're light as larvae. They also flash when they're young. They have like a glow. They're like glowworms, we call them. It's a warning to predators, letting them know that they're very toxic. So if you see a glow, you're not going to eat something that glows, right? It's not very appetizing.
Right.
And it's a warning. And that's why they glow originally. But the adults, as you said, develop that light or they evolve towards using that light to communicate with each other and with females. So when we open the lights in our backyards or when we use light for our own safety in roads, we kind of scramble that system because they whisper. They're very humble.
Whisper.
They have a very quiet love song. And our lights are very noisy, very strong, very bright. And so it interrupts that dance and it interrupts that ritual that's been going on
That's
forever.
wonderful. Again, we're talking with Sergio Henriques with the Indianapolis Zoo, our fabulous zoo. I love our zoo. And all the wonderful things you do, conservation, which brings me to this. Okay, they're beautiful, they're interesting, they're impossibly amazing, and they also do good things for us. We need them for conservation, and you mentioned the soil.
Yes.
Go into that a little bit, Sergio.
Yes, so they play a role in the soil where they live. They're top predators. Very few animals eat them. They do eat others. So they have that role to control animals we might not desire in the numbers they do. They also require like clean water. They like to live near streams and forests, so they like humid environments. And that can sometimes mean that if the environment isn't so good, if the water is contaminated, if you in your home or people in their home use chemicals and pesticides, it will, of course, impact the watershed in which you reside, which will impact fireflies you see and the other animals, of course.
Which brings me to this. My next door neighbor, I live in a duplex, and he has beehives. So I have honeybees on my property now, and which is interesting because I don't use pesticides anymore. Because we need our honeybees. We need these things. You don't want just a perfect lawn. I mean, come on. You need it to grow different things. Which brings me to the point you had mentioned in some of the notes. There's certain plants that they like. What should we plant to attract them?
Yes, so there's different aspects to. So honeybees are, of course, they're brought from Europe. They're not native to here. They're animals that we grow.
Wait a minute, they're not native to here?
Not the honeybees. We have native bees in the U.S., but not the honeybees. They're the European honeybees. They come from my homeland sometimes. They come from
that's your
Portugal.
connection too.
That's one of the connections. And they're very important for pollinating crops, for example. Very popular in California too. We take them for honey, of course. And they do feed on flowers and meadows. So they are dependent on nature the same way, cattle need to graze and all of those things. And native bees also depend on the same flower. So it's important to balance those two out. And that in the same environment, like your backyard, your lawn, should have biodiversity, should have native plants, if at all possible, because fireflies will need that to thrive. They might drink a little bit of nectar or pollen, but to be fair, fireflies, when they're adults, they live for such small period of time.
Right.
They're so focused on finding love and mating and moving on that they don't eat much at all. There's a few notable exceptions. So some fireflies who do this behavior that we call hawking or female fatale, when they will pretend to be a different species of firefly to attract the males of other species and then feast on them. Not for nutrients necessarily, but to take their chemicals.
Those darn women.
Yes.
The things we do.
Well, they are female fireflies, and I think the males would do the same if they could, I guess. But yes, but they do that just to elude other males and to get the chemicals and steal them. They might get nutrients from it as well, a little. So there's part of that diet. For fireflies, habitat is the most important thing. So if you have a backyard...
what do they do in the winter, speaking of habitat?
So when they do in winter, they go into logs. So if you have a good yard and if you have dead wood or leaves or, let's say, needles...
That's another thing. We clean up all the leaves. And, go ahead, keep going. I'm learning so much. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we do clean a lot. So if you could keep your leaf litter and maybe some dead logs sometimes in your backyard. They don't have to be ugly. You can carve them and make beautiful art if you like with them. But fireflies would welcome that habitat to overwinter, but also to grow their eggs and their larvae. So all of that structure, different structure of habitat does matter for fireflies, but also butterflies and other animals like the bees you mentioned. All those animals.
It's just we everything is connected, and when you start messing with the environment or the way the nature intended it to be, then that trickles down into other things. I also live on the Central Canal, so I have water right next to me too. So that's I've got all kinds of things walking by: deer, snakes, turtles. They always come up, and then I pick them up and make sure they're going the way they want to go because you don't want to turn them around. And then of course the geese that all over the yard, but that's another story.
It's another story.
So, what can we do? We can plant. We cannot use pesticides. we just kind of leave them alone would be the best thing to do?
That would be a good thing if you want to see them as you did as a child. That's a good privileged thing to do. You get to witness their beauty. That's great. You show your curiosity. You can record those species and share them with, with the scientific world. There's a thing called Firefly Watch where you can record fireflies in your backyard, wherever you are, for 10 minutes and share that with the community. Just
Firefly Watch?
Yeah, you just Google that and you'll come across that. There's an app called iNaturalist. You can download it on your phone and you can record anything on there. And experts such as myself will go and try to identify what you've seen. And the app has some AI who already tells you what might be there. So just loving these animals and share your love for them and for the community you're in is already very helpful. Giving them habitat is very important.
Right.
Reducing light pollution or chemical pollution is another one. And so trying just to keep the natural state
Harmony,
of things.
just balance. That's the better word.
Yes, that's a good
I
word.
also feed hummingbirds. Do they all get along? I know hummingbirds and bees don't get along. I do know that.
It will
So they're
depend.
separated. There's
They are.
pretty much.
Well, hummingbirds will look for flowers, right? So
Yep.
fireflies don't necessarily go for flowers. Hummingbirds are diurnal. You'll see them during the day. Fireflies, as you know, are a dusk or nocturnal animal, so they often don't collide much. There's a possibility that many fireflies never seen a hummingbird in their entire lives because they just don't.
Well, they are awful fast. Zip, zip, zip.
That's also true, just because they just don't live. They live in the same environment, but not under the same conditions. Night and day is very different in a natural world.
I like to. I feed all the animals. I go outside. The squirrels actually knock on the door because they want a toasted peanut butter sandwich. So I want to feed the fireflies to make sure. But I have a lot there, and I'm sure it's because I'm by the water as well. So
Yeah,
that
if you
helps.
keep
And we can see them until what we say September about.
That's maybe too late for many species.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So as we are now, this is firefly season. You will see plenty, I would hope, in your backyard. Maybe, as you said, as a child, you would see many. Perhaps, sadly, now, your own experience might tell you don't see as many as you did then. So their numbers are dwindling. And we hope that by doing the things we were saying, they will improve and increase their numbers. But they will be out now until, let's say, August, perhaps late August, if you're lucky.
Okay.
And we are very lucky.
And how do they make that? The flash. Where does that come
It's
from?
chemical, so they have chemicals in their body which they control. So they're wizards in that sense, and they can control the speed at which the chemicals get combined, and they can know when they flash. And the color of that flash depends. It can be green, yellow, amber color. Like the Say Firefly is amber, like a candle. It's gorgeous to witness. Is one of the most spectacular things one gets to witness. And we're very fortunate in Indiana
Yes.
to have those. It would be such a shame if we were to lose such a beautiful treasure.
I know. Well, I can't wait to go outside this evening and get flashed by my fireflies. So, and I'll
great.
appreciate them even more. I always knew they were wonderful and they're just amazing, but now I know more. Someone wants to get a hold of you, they can go to the Indianapolis Zoo and actually ask for Kelly, right?
Yes.
And Kelly, or just go to indianapoliszoo.com and they can learn more about you
Yes.
and about fireflies. And I love all you do for conservation. Of course, Dr. Rob Shoemaker, I'm just crazy about him. He does wonderful things for Indianapolis Zoo. Sergio Henriques, say it one more time, your name?
My name in Portuguese is Sergio Henriques.
I love that. Doesn't that sound great? Thank you so much for joining us, and you made my day light up. That's all. We'll talk to you next time on the Positively Patty Podcast.
Discover more pet-friendly stories at petpalstv.com and stay with Wish TV online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast and discover more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.